KVU 25 News Now at 10.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Amaya Norman.
And I'm Trenton Whiting.
Victoria College has received a $235,000 grant from the Teagle Foundation. The funding will expand the college's transformative text initiative, redesigning core courses so students in health careers, business, technology, and STEM can study influential works that have shaped history and culture. College officials say the program will help students connect with classic ideals and apply them to their lives and careers.
The Seadrift Police Department is hosting the first of what they hope is a consistent initiative in the city. Seadrift is hosting a public outreach event this week to educate residents on topics specific to the city. Seadrift PD is partnering with the General Land Office, Calhoun County Emergency Management, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Office. Each of these departments are combining to educate residents on safe boat operation and preparedness. In a letter from Chief Cheyenne Beaver, she says one of her purposes is to focus on the positive aspects of the community and promoting positive outlooks for its residents. The event will be held Friday, September 19th at the Seadrift Civic Center from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The address is at 501 South Main Street. For more information, call Seadrift PD at 361-785-2069 or the GLO Port Lavaca office at 361-552-8081. Chief Beaver says they hope to continue having events quarterly. She says any residents who come by this Friday may catch a few, quote, awesome boats as part of their boat safety presentation.
Yes, now let's go to Jacob Lozano with the first look at our forecast. Jacob, with this weather, I'm pretty sure that we can go out and look at some boats.
Yeah.
It's already hot. Give us any update for this week.
Yeah, you could. I mean, we were just unfortunate that we got that 10%. Unfortunate, fortunate, it depends on how you look at it. We got that 10% chance of rain that actually rolled through the Victoria region here. Actually, the southern parts of the county there, right along 87, saw close to about half an inch of rain there when the computer wants to load. There we go. 0.57 is what we saw up there. The northern part saw 0.13 there. Like I said, that was like that little bare minimum 10%, but more of that shower activity was up around the Houston area, east of Edna there, 0.67, north of Wharton, 0.22 around there. But we're going to be talking about this similar shower activity that's going to be popping up here in the afternoon times with the daytime heating, of course. But 92 degrees is what we got to here, and no rain at the airport, unfortunately, but we're still up for the year, and we still have rain chances in our forecast for the next 7 days, and I'll be talking about that in the full weather report. Trenton?
Thank you, Jacob. A tragic crash in Madera County, California, claimed the lives of 2 children last night and sent 4 other people to the hospital. The incident happened last night near the community of Ripenden. The California Highway Patrol says a van ran a stop sign and was hit by a semi-truck. A 15-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl were thrown from the van. The boy died at the scene while the girl was taken to the hospital where she later passed away. 3 adults in the van and the semi-driver were all injured and transported to the hospital. Police do not suspect alcohol or drugs to be a factor in the collision. And Utah Valley University says employees will return to work on Monday and classes are set to resume Wednesday, 1 week after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking during an event on campus. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee with the details.
Investigators say they're still searching for a motive in the assassination of political activist Charlie Kirk as he spoke at Utah Valley University last week. Sources telling ABC News the suspected shooter, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, turned himself in after his father recognized him in these photos and urged his son to come forward. Those sources say the suspect initially said no, but later changed his mind.
He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating.
In a brief phone interview with NBC, President Trump repeated unfounded claims that what he calls the radical left is promoting violence.
If it were up to me, I think you need to take the word radical and remove right or left. And radical coming from any direction is not good, it's not healthy, and it should be called out.
Colorado's Democratic governor pushing back against the president's claims.
This is about the acts of an individual, the inexcusable, evil acts of an individual. And there have been more of those in different places at different times. The assassination of the Speaker of the Minnesota Assembly, shooting here in Colorado. Whatever motivates these acts, the fault and the responsibility lie with the perpetrator.
The suspect is being held on suspicion of aggravated murder, obstruction of justice, and felony discharge of a firearm. Charges are expected to be formally filed on Tuesday. Utah's Governor Spencer Cox continues to call for unity as the country recovers from another act of political violence.
Every one of us has to make a decision. Are we going to hate our neighbor? Are we going to hate the other side? Are we going to return violence with violence? Or are we going to find a different path?
Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Orem, Utah.
That'll lead us to our viewer poll for this evening. We ask you, should cities and police provide security for political commentators at public events? Kind of a split decision here. 49% of our voters saying yes, 51% of our voters saying no. I will say that Mr. Kirk did have security there during that event, so obviously still unfortunate, nothing anybody could have done. But we do appreciate you participating in our viewer poll on this topic, very important. Go ahead and come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to continue participating in this viewer poll.
Call it a high-tech hall pass for students. Lacey Beasley visited a Dallas school that using an innovative way to keep track of students who need to leave the classroom.
Safety is a big concern.
Every year, Principal Candace Ruiz strives to find innovative ways to keep her students safe.
Good morning, good morning.
And a program called Securely could be the most high-tech hall pass you've ever seen. It assigns students a designated bathroom and then gives them a timer.
You just have to say, Miss Dowdy, can I use the restroom? And then she would say, put the e-hall pass in.
Isabella Maldonado is an 8th grader. She tells me there were distractions in the hallways in past years.
You see a lot of people in the hallways roaming around, making loud noises.
She shows me how students request hall passes online, click on the teacher's name, and then their assigned bathroom, or nurse's office or library, if that's where they're going. On the admin side,
The student has asked to use the restroom, and it is sitting here to be approved.
teachers approve the hall pass, and then the countdown starts. If a student takes longer than 10 minutes, screens turn yellow, and teachers or administrators will check on them.
You just went to get your water?
Yeah, and to the bathroom.
Okay, you may go back. Thank you, sir. Thank you for using your e-hall pass. Now I know where all our kids are. Our students don't have their cell phones. They can't meet up in the restroom. All these systems are making sure that our focus is always on kids learning.
It would be safe when we're having drills or like evacuation, so like the administrators know where you're at.
Robert T. Hill Junior High also has other safety measures in place. As students enter the school, they must lock up their phones in yonder pouches like these. Have teachers search their bags, walk through a metal detector, and sometimes get wanded. But even with those locked cell phone pouches, some students find a way.
If it's been vandalized, I do pick them up.
Is that students trying to claw their way in?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he's did.
Overall, it's innovative measures like these that aim to keep schools safe.
Having Yonder and having e-hall pass has helped keep our schools safe, especially since our kids do not have their cell phones. It helps us still keep track on where they're at.
U.S. Representative Michael McCall will not seek re-election in 2026 after serving his 11th term in Congress. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website at crossroadstoday.com.
The Victoria County Commissioners Court will meet Monday morning at 10 on North Bridge Street in room 241. On the agenda, a resolution designating September as Hunger Action Month in Victoria County. Commissioners will also consider a grant to support the Victoria Regional Juvenile Justice Center Generator Project, and they'll review funding for the Texans Feeding Texans Home Delivered Meals program and more.
And for more on today's news story, come to crossroadstoday.com. Don't forget to submit your birthday wishes. Carolina Estrain and Parker Cox will read them live on 25 News Now Sunrise. You can also submit a local military hero so we can recognize them. Escalating tension with Venezuela. U.S. F-35S touched down in Puerto Rico. How Venezuela is answering back coming up.
And the radar is clear for the night, but you could see some more shower activity tomorrow. I'll be talking about that coming up in the full weather report.
Are escalating between the U.S. and Venezuela. On Saturday, 5 American F-35 fighter jets landed in Puerto Rico.
The Trump administration says it's part of a major crackdown on drug trafficking. How Venezuela is now responding. Here's ABC's Christiane Cordero.
Tonight, U.S.-Venezuela tensions are rising in the Caribbean Sea as 5 American F-35 fighter jets are seen landing in Puerto Rico this weekend as part of a military buildup. The Trump administration says the heightened presence is to crack down on drug trafficking. It comes as Venezuela's government releases this video it says is of armed U.S. personnel approaching a fishing boat Friday, moments before boarding and occupying it. A U.S. official tells ABC News Coast Guard members searched the boat to see if it was carrying drugs, but didn't find any. In its condemnation, Venezuela called the incident hostile and illegal, claiming it happened within the country's economic exclusion zone, which the U.S. denies, saying they boarded the vessel in international waters. It's the second dispute at sea in as many weeks between the two countries, after the U.S. military strike on a speedboat carrying 11 people from Venezuela. The administration claims they were cartel members smuggling drugs.
Venezuela's been a very bad actor, and we understand that. And when you look at that boat, you see the bags of whatever it is there. Those bags those bags represent hundreds of thousands of dead people in the United States.
And now Venezuela is conducting large-scale militia training, civilians volunteering to serve as reservists. President Nicolas Maduro urges all Venezuelans to prepare for an armed struggle if needed. As the rhetoric escalates, there are still many questions about that September 2nd boat strike. Experts have questioned the administration's legal rationale for attacking the boat, and it's still unclear who exactly was on it or where it was going. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer are in Madrid, Spain, to begin trade talks with Chinese officials today. Some of the issues expected to be discussed are the strained trade ties between the two countries, along with a looming divestiture deadline for TikTok, and Washington's demands that its allies place tariffs on China over its purchases of Russian oil. Bessent and Greer arrived shortly before Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng and China's top trade negotiator Li Qinggang at Madrid's Palacio de Santa Cruz. The talks mark the fourth time in 4 months that the delegations have met in European cities to try to keep a fractured U.S.-China trade relationship from collapsing amid President Donald Trump's tariffs push. Trade experts said there was little likelihood of a substantial breakthrough in the talks hosted by Spain, which has also sought to improve ties with Beijing in recent years.
And President Trump is preparing for his second state visit to the United Kingdom this week, while also threatening new sanctions against Russia.
But he also wants NATO to do the same and stop buying Russian oil. ABC's senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has the details.
NATO scrambling fighter jets to shoot down more than a dozen Russian attack drones that violated Poland's airspace last week. President Trump has suggested the drone incursion could have been a mistake, but Poland insists it was deliberate.
With all deference to the president, I don't think that was a mistake. I think Putin is testing the resolve of NATO.
President Trump says he's ready to impose tough sanctions on Russia, but only if all NATO allies agree to do the same and stop buying Russian oil. The president posting, the purchase of Russian oil by some has been shocking. It greatly weakens your negotiating position and bargaining power over Russia. Anyway, I'm ready to go when you are. Just say when. Trump is also calling on NATO members to impose tariffs of 50 to 100% on China, saying China has a strong control and even grip over Russia, and these powerful tariffs will break that grip. Senator Lindsey Graham says Europe and the U.S. must work together to punish Putin's customers, telling NBC,
"It is now time for the Europeans to follow President Trump's lead and go after China and India. China and India will change their practices toward Putin. This war would end."
The president has set numerous deadlines related to Russia and its war with Ukraine, but those deadlines have passed as Putin launches bigger attacks on Ukraine.
I think the president, though, is waking up to the fact that Putin is not negotiating in good faith, not making concessions, and has to be dealt with. And the more Putin irritates the president, I think the better we are in terms of defending NATO and Ukraine.
Fox News asking the president on Friday whether his patience with Putin is running out.
Yeah, it's sort of running out and running out fast.
Selena Wang, ABC News, Bedminster, New Jersey.
The Trump administration has suspended some funding for its flagship aid relief program known as PEPFAR. The international groups and members of Congress warn funding cuts are already hurting patients and global projects tied to PEPFAR, the U.S. program to fight HIV and AIDS. The White House has moved to withhold billions, and nonprofits say many projects have been terminated or stalled. PEPFAR, credited with saving more than 26 million lives over 2 decades, faces an uncertainty for future as Congress and the administration clash over the budget. Experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. Stream our daily newscasts and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Search Crossroads Today Plus.
We're going to be taking a look at the tropics, plus what our weather for the week's going to be looking like when we come back. Let's take a quick look at the tropics before we jump into what's going on here on the continent of North America. We got a little disturbance that came off the coast of Africa here. It's been slowly treading away, fighting some drier air, and now it's got a 70% chance of development here. As we can start to see, it's making it within that cone right there. That's where that possible development stage is. It's still got a 20% chance over the next 48 hours, but with a 70% chance, it's got a good chance for it to make it there. But it's looking like it's going to be wrapped around with the high pressures. We can see that over there. The way that the moisture is getting wrapped around the area just west of or east of Bermuda there. Now we also are looking in the Pacific for Tropical Storm Mario, who's going to remain tropical storm and form more of a depression as it heads back out towards the west area. It doesn't really look to pose any threat to us here in the mainland, other than a couple little pop-up showers along the coastline of Mexico there for them. But for us, we got to be taking a look at the jet stream here. We got high pressure here. Big high pressure, big looping high pressure that goes all the way up from Chicago down towards us. This is actually going to be shrinking here over the next couple of days here, as well as this low, mid-upper level low that's going to be helping some shower activity out in towards the Atlanta, Georgia area. And then we also have another swooping low down there right by Denver. That's actually what we're going to be watching here for later in the week here, towards the late part of the week, for maybe a little bit more increased shower development here as it begins to form a little bit farther down south here. But as you can see, that high pressure gets on out of here by Wednesday, and it's really going to open up more shower activity for us here because the high pressure just condenses, and it doesn't take much for a lot more shower activity to pick up, especially with the temperatures that we're at right now, where it's feeling a bit almost summer-like here, but we're not in the upper 90s, triple digits, which is we're very fortunate about. But we are getting towards the fall months, or we're in the fall months, but we're getting towards the equinox of fall, and then we'll be there in the winter time. But let's take a look at the shower activity for tomorrow. Cloud cover will be picking up here by 12 a.m. here on Monday, but while we wake up in the morning, we're going to see some possible light little showers pop up along the coastline, and they'll slowly begin to roll in on shore here. But by the afternoon, with the daytime heating picking up, we'll start to see more pop-up showers and thunderstorms begin to fire off here right around 2 p.m. From noon to about 5 p.m. is when we're going to see that best bet for those pop-up showers. So keeping it about 20% here for Monday, but once the sun begins to set, shower activity will diminish. Cloud cover will once again build up with the humidity here for us. But 73 degrees tomorrow morning, getting to 88 here by around noontime. And we'll be capping out at 92 degrees here for our daytime high. But the next 5 days, we're going to be seeing those same conditions here. Just keeping it within the low 90s, mid to low 90s is what we have it for those next 5 days through the work week. But daily planner, scattered shower activity possible here at 91 degrees. East-southeasterly winds at about 11 miles per hour. Port Lavaca going to be seeing more of the shower activity in the morning time, but still can't rule that out necessarily. But it's going to be relatively more on the mostly sunny sky for the areas in the city here. So isolated thunderstorms here by the evening and afternoon time for Cuero as well, but keep it at 20% for right now over the next 7 days. We got high pressure out of the way, so it'll kind of help with all of that. Now don't forget to scan the QR code for more news, weather, and sports. And speaking of sports, we got football, Ray, right?
That's right, Jacob. The Refugio versus Edna game was also a high-profile game worth to discuss. Coming up in sports, we hear from quarterback Ray Lewis and head coach Drew Cox. Coming up in sports. District games are kicking off soon in the Crossroads, and a few undefeated teams remain. One of them being the state favorite Refugio Bobcats. After their marquee matchup against Edna, 25 News Now's Trenton Whiten caught up with Refugio head coach Drew Cox and quarterback Ray Lewis for a quick word.
Because they're a really great team and they're really fast. So if I could get outside and maybe bust something open, I do my best. Really, it's all credit to everybody who's blocking for me. You know, if they're doing their job for me, then I can do whatever I need to do for them.
It was like you said, a measuring stick. I mean, we wanted, because they're a big physical defense. They've got a good offense. So we wanted to, see how we measured up, and our kids came out and kind of took it to heart and just played really well, inspired football.
A big thanks to Trenton out there for shooting and working with the CFL team. And the Bobcats will prepare to take on Fremont at home in their district opener on September 26th, as this week 4 is their bye week. And it was a star-studded afternoon for the Dallas Cowboys as they took on another star-studded franchise in Russell Wilson and the New York Giants. And the Cowboys came to play after being down 10. Prescott finds Kevontae Turpin for a Cowboys touchdown. But the Cowboys was also able to get some rushing offense going as well. Here's Javonte Williams rushing it in for a touchdown. A near perfect game didn't necessarily guarantee victory, as the Giants were also able to answer back in some plays of their own. And this next play that you'll see here is Cameron Scatabo, I believe, getting through traffic for a Giant touchdown. This game went all the way into overtime, and the Cowboys was able to make it out the stall fight. Final score, 40-37. Texas A&M has been the talk of the state in college football these last 24 hours. They took on the top-ranked Notre Dame in a late-night battle, and last time we talked on air, things did not look good for the Aggies, especially with plays like that. The Aggies showed a lot of grit, and that play was on display right here as Marcel Reed throws to Mario Craver with a few yards of open field, and he's then greeted with 3 Fighting Irish players, but surprisingly, they couldn't stop him. Either as Craver gets by them with a block from Terry Bussey, and Mario runs it in for an 86-yard touchdown. Craver finished with 207 yards receiving, leading the Aggies to edge them out. Final score, 41-40. Congratulations to the Aggies. And with yesterday's big victory for the Aggies, they now find themselves in the top 10 of the AP poll, just right above OU. Just want to point that out there for a second. But we have 2 Texas teams in the top 10. So Crossroads, my question for you guys is, how long do you think this will be for the Longhorns and the Aggies to be in the top 10? And it looks like we got 58% that says just a few weeks only, and 38% that says most of the season, and 4% says only a week. So just a few weeks only. Wow. I mean, I guess that's a lot of people got high hopes for the Longhorns, should you say. But unfortunately, this game came with some bad news. DB Bryce Anderson suffered an injury near the end of the second quarter after tackling Eli Raridan. He was seen collapsed on the field. Bryce was stretchered off, but he did give thumbs up, and so far everything looks well. But we will be sure to keep you updated because some of the results that have passed have been positive, but we're still awaiting more test results. But that does it for your sports. Amaya and Trenton.
They're tasty, sweet, and celebrating a big birthday. How Pop-Tarts became a breakfast legend. Coming up.
'61st birthday of a breakfast classic, the Pop-Tart. Kellogg's first put the pastry on store shelves in September of 1964, and it quickly became a hit, not just for breakfast, but also as a snack. Competitor Post tried to catch up with its own version, but Pop-Tarts took the market first. A few years later, Kellogg's perfected the frosting that doesn't melt on the toaster, and the rest is history. And I don't know about the rest of the people up here on this panel, but I toast my Pop-Tarts.
I don't do that.
Guilty as charged.
Off and on. It depends.
Yeah. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Do any of y'all actually eat it in breakfast? Because I feel like that's a snack.
I have.
Yeah, I have. Like with my high school, for some reason they gave us Pop-Tarts in the morning.
Nutritious.
So,
There's fruit in there.
and that's why I was like, I didn't toast it. We just ate it how it was,
that makes
in the
sense.
packet.
You're at school. They don't have a toaster.
they don't have a toaster. So, I mean, but how's the weather this week?
For breakfast tomorrow.
Well, it's going to be a bit warm, so I don't know if it's warming up the Pop-Tart weather, but it's going to be 20% chance for some shower activity for the remainder of the week. So grab that umbrella for the afternoon.
Yes, but thank you for joining us.